Oh dear me, I am just about recovered from my trip to Scotland a few days. I got very little sleep on that trip, but it was alright. It was turned into a bit of a success, and that trip got me thinking. And you know what it got me thinking? That we all need to throw away our wide-angle lenses. Just like that. Okay, so I don't mean actually throw away our wide-angle lenses, that would be ridiculous. But a new photographer or somebody who's just getting into landscape photography might assume that wide is best. And I was the same when I first got into landscape photography many years ago. I think my first lens was the Sigma 10-20mm, and I used to shoot everything with that. And a lot of people email me, ask me about lens recommendations, and can you shoot landscape with a 50mm lens, for example, or you know, other focal lengths? And the answer always is yes. And today I'm going to talk about why this long lens, or any long lens, is just as good, if not better, than a wide lens for landscape photography. So you rock up to a nice vista and it's a lovely sunset or sunrise, and your instinct, everything in your photography body is screaming at you to get it all in, get the view in, look at what I can see, I want to get this in a photograph. And quite often that can work very well. However, if you really want to explore the landscape and get more out of your photography, and then start to pick out different images and compositions within the bigger landscape, you need to be reaching for a long lens. You see, if you're stood at a vista with that beautiful sunset and you've got a wide lens like this 16 to 35mm, it's pretty much, it's going to give you one photograph, more or less, from that spot, that position where you are. The trick with landscape photography, what I find, is to really look at the landscape and ask yourself this question: why am I photographing this? What do I like about this landscape? What don't I like about it? And rather than just being overwhelmed by this beautiful scene and trying to capture it all with a wide lens, by all means, get the big shot. Of course, I'm not saying don't do that. But just ask yourself the question, what is it about it that you love? Is it that mountain in the far distance there? Is it the beautiful clouds? Is it the light hitting those trees down in the valley? And what you'll find is if you ask yourself that question and break out a long lens, you turn that wide vista from one big photograph into 2, 3, 4, 5 different images by going in and being like a sniper and just targeting different parts of the landscape. Can be very effective. I think as well, a long lens allows for more creativity. Now let me talk about this image here, Scotland. Just a few days ago I was there. It was a complete washout. You know, clouds, clag, mist. You know, there was no grand vistas to be had, or certainly none that were worth shooting, that were really that good. So if I not had the long lens with me, I wouldn't have been able to get this photograph. It's not a typical landscape photography photograph. It's not, you know, it's not typical of what you would expect with landscape photography. And that's a good thing, because it allowed me to be creative. I saw the mist and the clouds rolling over the mountain, and I was able to get creative with that because I had the tools to go in close. I mean, there's no way I could have got that close to those clouds by walking. It would have taken me God knows how many hours, and it just wouldn't, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. So it allowed me to think outside of the box. This lens allowed me to think more than just the view. You see what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Long lenses allow you to go in close and create, I don't know, more abstract images, little vignettes going in on the landscape. And that's why I love a long lens for landscape photography. I really do. And this is just a 70-200. I've shot landscapes up to 300-400mm, and it's great. I tell you what as well, if you're a bit of a lazy photographer, which I am from time to time, and you don't want to hike around for miles and miles, you just take a long lens into the right landscape and you can just shoot for miles in every direction. A perfect example of this was in Namibia. I was in the sand dunes in Namibia, and there were sand dunes all around me, and you know, if you had a wide lens, you've got maybe 2 images. But long lens, you can stay put, get your drink out, get your sandwiches out, and you can shoot 1 image, 2 images, 3 images, 4 images, all without having to move a single inch. Here's a photography fact that not many people know about. longer lenses have more megapixels than wide lenses. Yeah, true fact. Okay, so obviously not. They don't. There's no megapixels in lenses. What I mean by that is if you want to create a huge file. So say for example, I was in the Lake District and we had this beautiful sunset over these snow-capped mountains. Now, if I'd have shot it with this lens, the same composition, which I could have by doing a letterbox crop, okay? I would have framed up my image just like that, and I would have then cropped a bit of the sky and a bit of the foreground to give me a letterbox or a panoramic. But I would have cropped out loads of pixels, so the file would have been really small. But I could shoot the exact same composition with the long lens by doing a panoramic. And long lenses are great for panoramics. I mean, don't get me wrong, of course you can shoot panels with wide lenses. I shot this image of a waterfall. Each frame was 24mm and it's stitched together just fine. But in a lot of cases, I want to do a panoramic of a scene that's far away. And by going in close with a long lens and doing a panoramic, you know, I can get file sizes that are like 21, 20, however big they're. How big are my file sizes with a panoramic? Yeah, so if you shoot 7 or 8 images in a panoramic and stitch them together, you've got a long lens picking out a nice mountain range, then you're going to come up with a file size that's like 6,000 pixels by 25,000 pixels, huge, and you get so much detail in that. And long lenses, most of my panoramics are shot with this lens, and that's great because you don't get that sort of shift in perspective that you get with a wide lens, which is where a nodal rail comes in, and that is a whole other conversation for another video. And with a long lens you get a very, very narrow field of view. So with a wide lens you kind of shoot in this, and with a long lens you narrow that down. So let me use this image for example. This is a tree that I shot, beautifully cold frosty morning, and I used a long lens to frame the tree with the other trees, the dark forest in the background. Now, had I tried to get the tree the same size in the frame using this lens, I'd have had to stand a lot closer to the tree, which is fine, but my field of view would have been a lot wider, so there was no way I would have been able to compress the perspective as I did with this lens. There is no way I would have been able to get the tree with the completely dark background. It wouldn't have been possible. I would have had this wider field of view and I'd have pulled in all of the distractions like the sky and the bushes to the left and bushes to the right, and then all emphasis on the tree would have been lost. So this is very good for eliminating distractions, and that's all to do with the narrow field of view that you get from a long lens. There are a few downsides to long lenses, not many, but there are, I counted two. Two downsides. They're often bigger and heavier than your wider lenses. Now actually heavier, it very much depends which long lens you go for. This is a Canon 70-200 f4. It's not got image stabilization because I put it on a tripod. I don't need image stabilization. It's not f2.8, it's f4 because I always shoot at f9, 10 or 11, something like that. And yes, it's big. It's bigger and slightly heavier than this lens. But do you know what? This is cheap. Should we? This is a good L series lens. Let's have a look how much this lens is. Oh god. There you go. You can get this on Amazon for about £529, which for an L series 70-200 lens is a good price. And this is pin sharp. I'll stick a link below if you're interested. Which will be an affiliate link by law. I have to tell you that. Another downside with long lenses shooting at a long focal length such as 200mm is you do suffer from image shake. So you get any movement on the camera is emphasized massively. If you're in a windstorm and you're shooting at 16mm and it's windy, you're not necessarily going to see those movements, those shakes. But if you zoom into 200mm, all of that movement is emphasized massively, it's magnified. So you do have to be very, vigilant. You have to be very vigilant with this lens, and you have to make sure, what I like to do is on live view zoom in to 10 times and just watch those pixels, because even if there's no wind and you handle your camera, let go, take an image, you need to let go and then take an image. You need to wait 1 or 2 seconds, all the while looking at your viewfinder, because you get that shake and you'll end up with a soft image. So yeah, be aware of that. So that's pretty much it. If you are new to landscape photography and you've been shooting everything super wide, I would just say, you know, long lens, what would I class as a long lens? I don't know, 85mm onwards or something like that. That's probably where the long lens starts. Beneath that you have a normal lens and then a wide lens. But yeah, so I would say anything from 85 to 500, you know, you go as long as you want, but give it a go. Next time you're out with your camera and you've got your wide lens and you're looking at a beautiful landscape, take that picture, take it with the wide lens, and then just ask yourself, why did I take that? Why? Get your long lens out and just try picking out a few different compositions within that landscape. It's a great exercise and almost always guarantees great results. So that's pretty much it for this video. But before I go, I just wanted to very quickly plug something. It's nothing of mine, no advertising, no sponsorship, nothing like that. But I got an email of a gentleman telling me about a Facebook group called, what's it called? It's got a really long name. Landscape Photography on YouTube UK. And it's basically a Facebook group where all of these channels, these landscape photography channels, can get together and share their work, and it's a great way to discover new photographers who do what I do and go out and take images. Because I think it's a great thing going on YouTube and sharing your work. It's very positive for everyone involved. There are no negatives to it. And this Facebook group might help you out. I don't know, it might help you meet other people. They all seem like good guys, and in this industry, yeah, we need a lot of good guys. Yeah, right, so I'll stick a link to the Facebook group below. Go and join and say hello if you're into your landscape photography and you want to find more resources on YouTube. It might be a good place to go. Right, that's it. I'm done. Thank you so much for watching, and I think we've got a special guest on the next video, episode, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, do tune in on Wednesday. So until next time, bye for now.